gentlemen, and Shirley Chisholm once said, if you come to the table and they don't got a seat for you, then you bring a folding chair. Ooh. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the fellas we brought here to speak with you today have definitely brought more than just a chair, but they brought a whole project for us to enjoy. And we tired of being left from the table when it comes to the magic powers. Because yes, we have them as well. So for those who are unaware, The Distinguished is out. The short is on Roku right now, and we're going to put you on. So without further ado, here is a quick taste of what you can expect from this glorious film that we plan on watching up here real soon. Take a look. Let's talk about it.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
Glad we're going through this pledging process together.
You have to show interest to make lines.
Weird as hell.
I know birthdays are tough, and I feel it too.
I felt something dark, and I knew you saw it.
You are 7 Iris Nord.
Eli is alive, and he needs your help.
Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen, The Distinguished movie trailer is out. It's just a short. I know you want more, but you can't get it because we want to go ahead and make it a big deal. And we have brought the folks in charge of the movie here to discuss it. I am here joined live with none other than Nolly. Yes, we've got Nolly. We've got Steph in the house. Of course, we've got Ant in the building. But guess who else is in the house? We actually have the cast of the distinguished Mr. Rickey Castleberry himself. It's none other than 7 Jabbar right here. And oh yeah, just in case you didn't think we was gonna bring even more, I even got the homie Tosin in the house. We are here, we live, and we gonna talk about this movie. Don't go nowhere. This is the new Blerd order. Let's go ahead and get it in. Hello.
I love the new Blerd order. You should too.
Let me get all this 10P Wayne. All the niggas rapping about the same old thing. I've been coming through with the same old gang. Ain't shit changed except 9 got a name. Got it out the mud but we got no stains. Cold ass digital with a gold ass chain. The girl call me daddy, not my government name. Money on my mind, got them bands on my brain. Let me tell y'all about a nigga I know. The nigga stay clean, so he always got hoes. Light skinny bitches like.
I love the new Blerd order. You should too.
Whoa. Oh, nice, we said it twice. Now check it out. Are joined by none other than the Mr. Rickey Castleberry and Jabbar. And we already said it. And I just want to say first and foremost for my folks out there on the West Coast, how y'all doing today?
I would have to say I'm doing good, thankfully. I'm a little nasally, but I'm surviving. Everything that's happening in California, well, Los Angeles to be specific, is, it's a lot happening, but thriving and surviving, thankfully. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Jabbar, Tosin, same question. Hey, and y'all ain't just gonna be able to feed off of old boy. Y'all gotta have your own question answers too now.
I'm ready.
No, it's a crazy time, and I'm just grateful to have spaces like this where we're around fellow artists, fellow creatives, because that's the life-giving stuff. You know what I mean? Even when things get scary and there are fires and there's danger and the industry seems slow, we've got people like this, teams like this, who are all in support of each other and there to give each other the joy that storytelling always brings back into our lives. So this is my happy place. So this is great.
Okay,
come on, Tosin. That's a good answer. Right, come on.
This man is a spoken word artist. I see you got the gift of gab. You got my vote there, Senator. Jabbar, same question.
I'm doing well as well. God is good. We're here. Thank you for giving us a platform where we don't have to reach and grab for articles and phone calls and emails to different publications, but we have one like you guys who want to support us. And I just thank you guys for that.
Oh man, it's our pleasure. Listen, man, the pleasure is all mine. And if I could start off real quick, I would like to go ahead and dig right on in. And to repeat myself a little bit with what I said in the show, this particular project speaks directly to us. We are what we call blerds, black nerd put it together. Okay. And we are subjugated to having to watch all these projects with folks that don't look like us, that are written by folks that don't look like us, that have voices of people that look like us being voiced by people who don't. So I'm just curious about, Rickey, your experience and what it is that caused you to put out a project like this that speaks directly to people like us. Because I'm going to keep it real, Rickey. I saw all of the clips on the gram and lovely marketing, by the way. Jabbar, I saw you with the selfie stick and all that. We doing it. It is working. But what I noticed was that you were like, okay, Black Magic, like it's almost like you know that there's a void. So what is it that inspired you to say, you know what? I am the person who's going to start this out. Let me do this for our generation. That's curious, sir. Please, if you don't mind.
You know, the crazy thing about it is it kind of speaks to what I could speak for, like myself, Tosin, and probably Jabbar on this when it comes down to like the auditioning process or trying to get anything made in the business. It's always like, well, you need to tell your authentic voice, right?
Yes.
And so going into that space of like trying to tell my authentic voice within my stories, you know, going through the whole process of, you know, pitching project after project after project. And, you know, it's my voice, but it seems to not elevate enough to what it's for someone to say, you know what, let's pull the trigger on this story. But I think, again, kind of going back, it's all about God's timing. And I felt as though that in this moment when this really came to me and how I was just like so sold out for, like, I'm just going to go for it. That was the magic that was missing, because I was waiting on so many other people's permission to give myself permission to do the work that I've already know that I'm capable of doing. So it was like, you know what, let me just do this and see what happens. I mean, of course, there's a lot more that went into it, but I knew for a fact that at the end of the day, like, I'm a big Harry Potter person. I love that. I love magic. I love powers. I used to get in trouble as a kid making potions and like all that kind of fun stuff. But with that being said, I was just like, you know what? This is the story that I want to tell. Seven is a lot like myself, like, you know, finding my voice, finding my magic, and knowing what I'm really capable of is something super, super special. And I have a lot of love and I have a lot of magic to give to the world. And that's coming from a loving place. And so it was really like, let me get a story. Let me fine tune a story that is synonymous to me, that I know a lot of other people will identify with. And that's kind of how it really just started to manifest a lot of. But truth be told, I remember going into, you know, conversations once I finally had a one-pager first about the idea and the concept. I'm not going to name no names, but I went to a couple friends about the idea that are high-level studio executives. And I was like, this is the idea that I have. And I showed them the one page. They're like, this is dope. And the one thing that we don't discuss, and I think this is a nugget here in terms of like industry, in terms of keeping the power and keeping yourself in the room, is your IP. And they told me, they're like, with this idea, this is really special. You need to write the book. And I was like, huh. And at first, the book was not like at the forefront of my mind. I mean, of course, the story, I already had it, but in a sense of like really going way beyond what we see, you know, of course you get a wrinkle of time of that within the short film in itself, but the world is so much bigger. So after I talked to my friends that are the executives about the book concept idea of it, it made perfect sense. So, and that's a whole nother story that we can kind of talk about, just in the sense of like what we as Black people don't know in the industry and how to really be in the room and stay in the room.
Can I just give Rickey a little bit of extra credit too, because there's something that everybody has a story they can tell, and Rickey found a story that's personal to him. But sometimes storytellers get lucky and they tap into something that's in the zeitgeist already, that's in the air that people are craving. And I think that's exactly what happened here. We have magical stories, we have fantasy epics, but very few of them center Black people. Very few of them center queerness. Very few of them merge the lives that we as people of color live into that. And he found a way to tell a story that literally merges Black modern culture, queer culture, and everything into this fantasy epic. The appetite is there. The people are ready, and he figured it out and cracked the code on this one.
Man, listen, I'm already picking up so many nuggets, and I'm going to pass this over to Steph, but I got to ask, homeboy, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, what we repping, homeboy? We Gryffindor, bro. What set you claiming over there at Hogwarts, homeboy?
I'm Gryffindor all the way.
Oh, he's a Griffin. He's a Griffin. Should we keep this going? I'm cutting it off. I thought he was a Slytherin, bro. I'm a
listen.
So we Slither strike.
Now, don't get it twisted. Now, don't get it twisted. We got some sauce now, okay?
Okay, I owe you to it. My man. Thanks for the voice. Okay, Steph, Queen.
Ooh, I have so much to say. Okay, so I just want to throw out there first, Ricky. We want the book. We're looking for the book. I Googled it, so I presume it's not easy to find. It's out. I just know that I need the details. I was like, where immediately? How do I get the book? How do I get the series?
I love this question because the reality is the book is not out yet. So that's the crazy part. So the book is ready to go. We're just in this little bit of a holding pattern, which is called publishing. And so more details about that will come shortly, hopefully sooner than later. But it's all a part of the design. It's a part of the plan, which we can talk about that. Like, I don't know if you want to hear about it now, but we can talk about it.
I mean, yes. So let's put a pin in that because I want to come back. We need that.
Yes.
That was actually just kind of the setup to my actual question, which is kind of building off what Tosin just said. You really found what the people wanted in this moment. Like if I had a magical box that I could put in the pieces of what I want in a movie, the Distinguished would come out. Okay, we had HBCU culture, HU, Bison here. Yes,
come on,
powers. Black men in tailored suits, sign me up. Take all my coins. Where do I get more of this? And I feel like it was just truly a love letter to the culture, Black culture and nerd culture. So many references that I picked up as looking for meaning in the red pill, the white eyes, church culture, just so many things that you grabbed that we're deeply into. So I would love to hear from all of you. What are the parts of yourself, the Easter eggs that you kind of brought into this project? And also, we heard a little bit from Ricky, but Tosin and Jabbar, are there any books, movies, properties that you love that kind of inspired you in bringing a Black superhero of your own to the screen?
Well, I'll just go first and I'll be quick about it. I mean, when Ricky asked me to be a part of this, I was immediately very curious and excited. As a fellow indie filmmaker, I was like, how are you going to do all these special effects? Like that is, a very complicated thing. And the average person doesn't understand how hard it is to bring all of that to life and how much it costs. But the story was so solid and brilliant. And the fact that he was tapping into not only HBCU culture and Black culture, but also African lore, and in specific, some Nigerian iconography, and even the fact that the character that I'm playing is named Femi, which is my brother's name. It was something, it just leaped out that I was meant to be a part of this. And I couldn't say no.
Mm-hmm. And me, I just always wanted to be in something that I had powers. Like when I first started acting, I was just like, I used to watch movies and TV shows like Static Shock. And of course, when Black Panther came out, it just broke the ceiling of what Black people can do in this space. So it was an immediate yes for me. Of course, we had the church culture. I think at the time when we first started shooting, I just started getting into my Bible. Like I've always known God ruled over my life. I believed in Jesus Christ, but I really wasn't into the word like that. I was into like the sermons and stuff. So when I read the script and I was just like, oh yeah, immediate yes. Ricky just cracked the code. Like Tosin said, it's just a gold mine, really.
Anything else you want to add, Ricky? Maybe about parts of yourself that you brought? Or I think that for so many of us, we just felt like we have that classic story of Black kid surrounded by white people, suburban schools, kind of feeling like an other. Did you have any of those kind of experiences?
Absolutely. So growing up, story is quite fascinating because I was always the skinny kid, the small kid, the kid that would get picked on, the kid that would be bullied, a lot of those things. And also at the same time, I was also what we would consider an underdog, right? And so for me, when telling the story in the most authentic way, I was like, I have to bring my experiences that I've had growing up as a kid. You know, my aunt, for one, like we very much in terms of family, it's split. So some of us are Catholic, Pentecostal, and then also did I say Catholic already? Yeah, no, Baptist. And so bringing that world to me too, that was a lot of grounding for me as a child, especially going to church and being a part of like those different denominations. And I just want to be true to that, to myself too, at the same time. You know, there's a number that's referenced 334. That's in the 338 that's referenced in the movie, and Ezekiel 338, you know, it's talking about prepare. And so basically with that being in mind, that's popping up on the screen on 7's clock, and then we see it in the church. If anybody catches it, it's a little Easter egg. So those moments, the visions that 7 are having, it's telling him to prepare and get ready for this battle, get ready for this war, get ready for this new power that he's about to discover about himself. And I think in life that, to me, everything has been in preparation for this moment, for me to be able to tell this story. So I had to go through the things that I had to go through to experience, you know, being the person that got bullied, being able, you know, being picked on, all the things that come along with that, to be able to tell this story in the most authentic and truthful way. And this is what gives me my powers. This is what gives 7 his powers. Everything that we see that him experiencing, the fact that he wants to be a part of, you know, this fraternity, for some reason, he can't seem to, you know, to break that code, but somehow he's under this impression that his dad has always been a part of something major. He just didn't know exactly what that was. And that he also had those powers just as his dad does, right? And I think we miss that. A lot of times we yearn to be a part of something that is, you know, we quote unquote feel like we have to be a part of, but yet we need to know that we're much bigger than that already, you know, like our powers within us. So I think the story in itself speaks to a lot of us growing up, whether you were the bully or whether you the one that's being bullied. I think there's a lot of us in 7, there's a lot of us that's within Femi, within the Distinguished, especially one of my favorite parts that I just remember writing this beat with Tracy Toms, and I wish my co-writer Rodney was here, but we wrote this really dynamic scene with Tracy Toms between 7 and his mother. And, you know, when she goes into this whole point about we're all fragmented, you know, which is so true. Like, you know, all you got to do is make sure that your pieces are accounted for. And that was so special to me in that moment when we talk about that, because we are, you know, we're all fragmented. We all have different pieces and things in different places and spaces. But as long as we make sure that we account for the things that we need to do, and I mean by this, by doing right by people, everything else is going to be okay, right? Or doing right by the things that we value the most, we're going to be okay. And I think that was something that 7 was wrestling with, because he's trying to, you know, please this vision of himself that doesn't necessarily truly exist, not knowing that he's already enough, you know? So, yeah.
Wow.
So I missed that number reference. Obviously, need to go watch the movie again. That would get me caught
Easter egg.
With Holly, who has seen it 3 times. So that's some great questions loading.
Yeah. So Nolly is on you, but I will say before Nolly comes on, man, I feel the spirit is coming up in here. Do y'all feel that? Like, it just feels like there's a spirit of overwhelming. Like, I'm ready. Because I can tell. I told you was speaking directly to our soul, man. And I'm just like, man, it is in there. I'm ready. Let me stop. Nolly, I know I'm stupid, Nolly. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I was born this way. It's on you. Go ahead and ask your question.
If it were any other way, I don't think my love for you would be as strong.
All right. I'll be back.
So essentially, kind of like in our group, I'm like the lit nerd, love books. So immediately when you guys were like, yeah, a novel is coming. When I tell you Steph and I were Googling together, okay, and I was like, I don't see nothing. I don't see a date. I need to know when it is, because every time I watch something and I know there's a book, immediately I've downloaded the book. And then immediately I'll go through the book. I will rewatch the show. I will do comparisons. So I'm waiting. And so just think of
You're
me.
ready.
Yes. So that I know. But to kind of go off of that, fantasy has always been pretty European influenced, right? And so it's so refreshing to see fantasy kind of be fantasy, but also be so rooted in Black culture. And so I kind of want to hear from you guys, I guess, to like kind of like bring it to our audience. How does the distinguish challenge the idea that fantasy is a white genre? Because I feel like lately we've gotten a lot of what I call here damn, like they'll cast something and they'll cast one of us like here damn so that y'all don't get mad. This does not feel like a here damn. This feels like a damn, this is what I've been asking for. So what's your take on the challenges of, you know, fantasy is white, but this doesn't feel fake. This doesn't feel forced. This feels like the fantasy we know and love.
Well, I mean, Rickey, you should probably answer this one, but I will say one thing before you start, which is that, you know, there's something that Jabbar always mentions this, and I think it's so great, is there's no fear of the church or bringing in faith in this story. And I think in a lot of other versions of fantasy, there's, you know, they separate the worlds. Like, you know, if in the world of Harry Potter, no one's talking about their religion, you know what I mean? But the fact that this story encompasses a sense of magic and powers and mystery, but doesn't ignore that these are the same people, the same culture has deep-seated religious beliefs, and in fact, multiple different religions of belief, it's like hybridizing our world. It's like combining them. And again, it's doing something that I haven't seen another fantasy do. And I think that's a uniquely Black thing, to be able to kind of merge worlds like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's one of my favorite things in the piece.
I would say to kind of go off of the religion aspect of it, I think in terms of Black culture in general, a lot of us, I don't think I have many Black friends that have not stepped into church at the end of the day, right? Because it was like you getting up, brush your teeth, you got breakfast ready to go, and we're heading out to church. I don't care if you're running out, putting up, but we're going to be in church on time. Before the doors even open, we're going to be there waiting for the doors open. And so I thought that was really important just within telling the story to really capture the Black experience overall. Like, number one, when we think about Black culture as a whole, at the end of the day, I think we really set the bar really high. We just have a lot of people that are mimicking other cultures that like to mimic, you know, what we do, which is fine. However, within that, we're always the ones that's being left behind. And so with this story, I wanted to make sure that we were not being left behind. I wanted to make sure that we were accounting for a lot of the things that we experience on a day-to-day, a lot of things that we wish that we had, because we were always saying, well, I wish we could do this. I wish we can change that. Okay, great. Well, if I go into this fantasy world, I have the powers to make those changes, you know? So it's like, I think this is a really good opportunity for us to escape and experience culture and all the things that we are as Black people in one centered space for us, by us, with no extra fluff, you know, in between. It's like no one else can tell the story because, number one, it's my story. But beyond that, no one else can tell it better than I can tell it, and really tap into the experience of Black people the way that I can, because I know my people, right? So, I just have to say, like, you know, at the end of the day, just seeing all the components that come into place, I still shock myself. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to hold y'all. Like, I still shock myself from top to bottom, just in terms of like, and Jabbar and Tosin can attest to this too, and the rest of the cast and everybody else, they already know, like, I'm so meticulous. And this also allows me to express my OCD. So when it comes down with like everything that you see within this film, and even another little nugget real quickly, I don't know if you guys caught when when the portal starts spinning over the mantle of the fireplace, there's actually a picture of myself. I
did notice that.
If Stan Lee can do it, if Jean Favreau can do it, I'm gonna do it.
I know that's right.
As you should.
Yes, I'm behind the camera, but also you're gonna see me in screen. So that's what we did.
I love it.
For the feature length, we'll foresee some extra cameos from you then, I assume.
Absolutely. I think also with the feature too, you're gonna meet a lot of other people. We're gonna talk about that too. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of things that you're gonna experience. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because Ricky is an actor. That was his first baby.
Yes, that was my first baby. I've done some shows.
My man is putting himself as an Easter egg in videos. You gotta love that, man. He's already on the way, and he writes stuff as well. Well, listen, I definitely have more to ask, but Ant, if I ain't mistaken, man, you got something to ask as well?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to speak with you guys. This one's for Tosin and Jabbar, right? Jabbar, you've been a little too quiet. I got to pick on you for a second. What was it for you? Like, I'm wondering, what was that personal aha moment or that experience that inspired you to dive into this world of magical Black greatness and powers? Was it legacy? Was it Ricky's pitch? Or was it something that you read in the script that made you say, all right, where do I sign up? Like, I need to be a part of this. And Ricky, I got one for you as well. How did you assemble this cast? Like, you have future stars here. Like, they already dropping hints that they down to play Static Shock or a variant of T'Challa in the future. How did this all come together?
Yo, you guys.
Honestly, I love the intersectionality between the HBCU culture, the church culture, the queer culture. I think those things don't go together. The magic, they don't go together. To any Black grandma who, in the church, they would be like, absolutely not, right? So I think bridging that gap, because a lot of people love magic. A lot of Black people love magic. A lot of Black boys in college, they often go to explore their sexuality in college. Church people often find themselves exploring religion when they're away from home, outside of the confines of, we got to go to church today, we have to go to Bible school. I thought that was brilliant. I thought that described myself. I think that was it felt like me at the time. 7, my name being 7. That's such a biblical number in the Bible. 7 is so strong. It's, we're supposed to forgive 77 times and then 7 times more than that. And it just is it was just so, soon as I read the size, because I didn't have the script at the time, but soon as I read the size, I just knew that I needed to do it. So when me and Ricky did the audition, I remember him being like, all right, do it this way. All right, try it this way. And I just, I feel like every director just sees if you know how to take direction. But I just knew that I needed this role. I asked him, I remember asking him, like, you have anybody else you auditioning? And he was like, yeah, we got like another person, I think, whatever. And I was just like, all right, well, keep me updated, keep me posted, but I knew I wanted this role. And shout out to David. I think we have like Miss David Madrick. Like he's the one who recommended me to Ricky once he, I guess Ricky told him about the project. So shout out to David for even being like, yo, I think I had the perfect guy for you. So yeah, that was definitely my reason why.
I mean, I'm still on. Oh,
go ahead. No.
Yeah, you said we got future variant of T'Challa here and future Static Shock. Like you be seeing what we be posting on social media, huh? Because honestly, I didn't know Jabbar, but I see that. I can see that for you easy. I was just gonna say that I think that's kind of part of it. Like this idea that everybody, first of all, wants to be super. Everybody wants to be special. Every kid dreams of that. We all have that dream. But also, like, we're in an industry where we know those opportunities are few and far between. And the fact that someone came to us and was going to dream out of their own head the opportunity for us to be super, I mean, it's really like impossible to say no to. You have to be crazy. I mean, this is it's so cool. And for me, I knew that my character was kind of like someone who is a bridge and a recruiter, and bringing Jabbar's character, bringing Seven into this world and emboldening him to become powerful and to fulfill his legacy and to find his father. There's just so many epic coming of age aspects of this story and of the potential. It's like all about potential. The potential of what you can do with your power, the potential of what you can do with your life, the potential of can you reconnect with the people in your past. And it's that potential is exciting from a storytelling perspective as well as from a life perspective. Like, I want to be in places where I feel like potential is being tapped into and achieved. And I want to tell stories where people are elevated for tapping into and achieving and striving. And on top of that, you got superpowers. I mean, it really, it's something you can't say no to. And the fact that it's a new creator with a new idea, which is another side of it. You know, Hollywood right now, this will come as no surprise to anybody, is so obsessed with pre-existing intellectual property.
Yes.
Just resurrecting the same old things over and over and over. A franchise could be long dead and they're like, well, we don't trust any new creator, so we want to bring a new thing in. We want to bring the same old thing back to life, even if it has no gas or no legs or there's no new vision on it. Here is a new storyteller with a new vision of a story that taps into a whole group of people that are underserved, that have been waiting, like drooling for a project like this, to let them feel magical and seen and full of potential. And this is that project. This is that project.
Mm. Y'all over here just about to make me cry. Like, you know, but to answer your question too, about cast, you know, again, this was all a blessing. It's one of those things where I made a definitive decision. Of course, Seven being like, you know, the lead of the film, so it was like I gotta find that right person, and thankfully Jabbar ended up being that right person. And there are a couple other people that we were out to. But Jabbar was the best.
Now, why you gotta bring that up? Why you gotta bring that up? All I have is victory.
I just have to do it. I'm kidding. But no, I'm so proud because ultimately the cast, it was really a lot of, even when Jabbar said too, also with David was awesome because I talked to him about, you know, Seven, the character in the project, and he's like, I got the perfect person. I was like, all right, you got to introduce me to this kid. But beyond that too, it was really going to my other friends and also friends that are family that I've known because I've been in LA now like almost 17 years at this point, going to everybody and saying like, hey, I'm doing this project. This is the, you know, these are the characters. This is who I'm looking for. And people literally was just like, oh, Tracy. Oh, this person. Oh, this person. And so then I was like, put in the phone calls, set it up, and we'll talk about it. That's really how the cast really came together. And the crazy part about it is I didn't really have like, I mean, in terms of the one pager that I talked about in the beginning, in terms of what the cast, you know, what the people look like, that's like an image that's from my head, but also a buddy of mine that's an artist drew that. But to kind of get everybody as close to that image as possible, it was divine. Like I can't even, it's just divine, but also to the fact that everyone was willing to take a bet on me too at the same time. Of course, as mentioned, I was, you know, an actor first. And so to come into this position and stepping into a place to direct something for the first time, yes, this is a short film, but this short film is a very tall order. Like there is I'm not going to just, the average could not just do this. Like this is a very tall order. And it is a lot of intricate pieces that goes to this thing. And I also like, I had my own idea of what a director is. And this took me to a whole nother place and space of what the real is, you know, in terms of being an amazing director that has a vision that can actually execute and bring something like this to the table. So I do not take directing lightly. And I don't think any other director that, put their hard work and talents into a project, it is not an easy job, by no means. And so circling back off of that, I'm grateful that they also said yes to me when I came to them and said, I'm going to direct this thing. Are y'all okay with that? And everyone was like, yeah, but also it speaks to my strength just as an actor too. At the same time, I think that's very important. I think an actor director is something very special, because communicating with an actor is also something very supernatural. It's divine. It's a moment. It is special, and it is super curated because you're tapping into emotions that are personal, when we're talking about certain things, and because you want that to emote within the moment. And I have to say, there's a lot of emotions that Seven goes through. There's a lot of emotions. I remember moments when Tosin and I were talking about certain things in terms of moments that he was delivering his lines about. And he was like, what do you think about this? And us diving into this deeper analysis of what the moments are. It's very, very, very real. And I think it takes a special person in terms of directing, being able to tap into a space like that with talent to get what you want as a director off the screen. Well, onto the screen, shall I say.
Man, and we thought it was easy. It don't sound easy. And great question. If I may, I got a question, and my question is it might seem a little silly, but I want to pose this to the writer, director / actor / Easter egg. So bro, I'm a son of 2 ministers. Okay. I grew up in the church. And one thing that I had as an experience growing up in church was not being able to associate with magic. I was not allowed to watch the Smurfs or play with things that had sorcerers. He-Man was not welcome in my house because ain't no masters of no universe around him. Right. So I'm just curious, like, as you're writing, and I mean, this is the Blerd experience for a lot of us. It's kind of wrestling with what it is you like versus what you think you're supposed to. And I'm just wondering what gave you the confidence, and where did you find that will to say, you know what, regardless of whatever it is that typically these things are associated with, this is my passion, and so I'm going to push this through, and there's room for this, and I'm not afraid to show that the pathway does exist. Like, what fuels that ability to say, I'm not worried about all that?
I think for me, it's more so like, what else do I have to lose at this point, right? It's like, at the end of the day, I've been in this business for a very long time, and I don't know if I can say it like, let me see, how can I say this? So it's like, you go out, you audition as an actor, you do this, you do that. And then you start to get into this side of things where I'm at now, where, I'm director, writing, and producing. And, you're looking for those unique stories that are going to basically invoke conversation, that's going to spark something in people, that's going to ignite a movement. And I felt as though this is what that was going to do. Like, it's finally like, let's get out of this taboo element ultimately in our head of what they say we can't do or what we can't be, because we even limit ourselves within our own community, right? Because kind of what we're going back to say about like, oh, we can't talk about magic, or we can't associate with this because of church and things on that side. But we all internalize, and we may not say it out loud, but we be thinking certain things, right? So I was like, let me take all these inner thoughts. Let me take all these inner emotions. Let me take everything that I ever said that I'm going to suppress and put deep inside of me and just let it go. Because what I've come to discover and what I've come to find out with this, there's so many more people that relate to this story in totality than not. And so there's something for everybody. And I must say this, like, one of the things that I was kind of like, as an artist, sure, I want to share my art, and art is going to invoke conversation, is going to do a lot of things. One of the things that I was kind of like curious about in this moment was, when we do the scene when Seven and Noah have their kiss. And mind you, this is a short film, so there's not a lot of, we don't have a lot of female characters in the short film, but there's more to that in the feature and also within the book. But with that being said, I was like, I wonder what the reception is going to be to, you know, the female audience that are watching, like, how are they going to feel about this moment? And surprisingly enough, because I felt as though, and it goes back to what Jabbar said, a lot of people in college go into college going to experience life outside of their home now. They get to decide what time they're coming in. They get to decide what religion looks like for them. They get to decide all these different things. And so to see that people really resonated with that moment as well, male or female, it blew my mind. So I was like, okay, so we have something that's here. It's not taboo. This is the real experience. This is what people are going through. We just suppress it. We don't talk about it. So I'm like, let's talk about it. Let's put it out there. It's all magical. Life is magical. So let's put it out there and let's have a supernatural experience on every level. And so I didn't want to shy away from that. So that's what I did. I said, I'm going to put it all on the line and I'm just going to do it.
So just to respond to that real quickly, a little bit of inside baseball. Before we came on, Vince actually said to me and Nolly, if the two of you have any criticism of the movie, I know you loved it, but I'm curious what you thought about there not being a lot of women characters. And both of us said, we loved it just as it was. You know, my point was, I don't want to see Black women being treated badly, but everything doesn't have to center us all the time. I said, this is a coming of age story about young men. It's a brotherhood tale. I love the movie The Brothers. So I thought it was amazing just as it was. I love seeing Seven's relationship with his mom. So I can tell you from one Black woman, at least, I thought it was incredible just as it was. And I'm so excited to see the expansion in the feature film as well. But I do have a question, having said that. So
hold up, bro. Now, why you have to throw me under the bus? You know what I'm saying? Like, you had to put my name in there. Like, that was a private discussion. You know what I'm saying? Like, why you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, at least you didn't say what I said.
We was listening to the church music, and then you all go, hey, Vince was the one that wanted to know why there wasn't no Black women. I'm like,
it's a valid point, though. You didn't say it as a criticism. It was you saying, hey, as a man, I loved it. I'm curious for you ladies, did you have feelings about that? And you wouldn't know because you're not a woman. So let me be clear. It was not a criticism from Vince. It was a, hey, from a Black woman's perspective.
I know one thing we ain't finna do in 2025, and that's start taking me seriously. So I'm mad that you even responded to me. But go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Right. So anyway, 20 minutes later, this is a question for Tosin and Jabbar. I'd love to hear, what were some of your favorite on-set moments, whether cameras on or off? I just have to assume it was an incredible environment. So what are some of the moments that stood out for you from the experience?
At one point, we had an impromptu photo shoot by my fly car. That was dope. I mean, we were on, what campus were we on again?
USC.
That was USC, yeah.
USC. We were shooting on USC campus, which was gorgeous. And it was just beautiful to like realize, oh, this is immersed in this world. You know what I mean? It didn't have to be faked. We were on a college campus shooting a, coming of age college scene. And, whatever extras were walking around in the background added flavor and real reality to it. I like that stuff. That stuff just makes it feel very lived and very real. But yeah, it was great.
I think we shot 3 days, Ricky. Just 3 days.
Well, it was 4 for me, but yeah, 3 for y'all.
Right. Every day was special to me. The first day on set, I got to work with Harold, which was insane, watching him all of my life. And then the next day I got to work with Tracy. And then the last day we got to do the portal scene, which I thought was very special. This was my first lead ever leading a project, which I felt at the time 8th year out here in Los Angeles trying to make it as an actor and do things. Like, I've done other amazing work with amazing ensemble cast, but to be at the top of the cast list and be working with a bunch of amazing artists, every day felt special. Every moment I was just taken in. I just was just so proud to be on set and doing what we created.
I thought of one thing that was funny that, every project has new and unique things that you learn. And that portal scene that he was just talking about, you kind of know in your head it's going to look magical in the end, but you don't exactly know how it's going to work at the time. And it's funny to just like turn and walk into a wall and then just kind of stand there and shimmy off to the side, because they're going to edit all of the magic around you. You just have to look a little silly and walk into a wall and then try not to run face first into it and then just slide away and then be like, okay, magic is going to fill this in and make sense. I had a whole monologue where I'm describing the other world. And I asked Rickey repeatedly, I'm sure you were like, why does he keep asking this? I was like, so what exactly are the fire images doing? What exactly are the flames doing? What exactly is the illustration? Because I'm like, I don't want to be out of proportion in my performance to what graphics happen. If I'm like giving you Gandalf energy and like this little dancing flame, then it's gonna be a little silly. So he had to really kind of paint a picture for me so I have a sense of what it's gonna look. And even then, the final project, I had no idea it was gonna look like that. So it's everything always changes, and you have to use a lot more imagination for something like that.
Well, you pulled it off marvelously. I have 100 questions, but I'm going to be fair and pass the mic to Nolly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was gonna say the same thing, Steph. Like, he scared me when he looked dead and he was like, he turned around and was like, is you coming? Is you coming? You know what I'm saying? And I walked through the screen. I was like, yeah, I'm on the way. I'm sorry. Nolly, the floor is yours, Nolly. My apologies. Please don't take me serious.
Do I look like I was born yesterday? Do I look like I met you this morning? For real. Okay. So for the audience, what do you think makes Seven's journey so compelling? Like, what everyone's gonna be like, I've seen magic powers before. Yeah, I guess an HBCU is cool. What's the story got for me? What about his character arc, everyone else, Femi, etc.? What about their journey makes it so compelling that people are going to want to demand like a trilogy, have Lord of the Rings type marathons eventually with their families when we get like the full set and expand the universe? Because it's going to happen. We're putting that into existence. We're manifesting. So what do you guys feel about the story really is going to like pull people in?
You guys didn't read the book. Like, you guys don't.
I've been trying, but I'm not like a book talker. I'm not a book influencer. If you want to put me on the PR list, I will slide my info because I will read it. Okay, look, when the last Harry Potter book came out, I worked at a gift shop in the hotel, and I knew we were getting 6 copies. I got there at 5 a.m. I opened the box. I bought a copy for myself, and I was finished by noon.
Wow.
So if you want to add me to the list, I would like to.
I mean, I just think that if you like this short, once you realize that the book is coming as well, and then a film, a lot of people are talking a series, whatever Rickey desires, I just think that if you guys, the reaction to this makes us be like, whoa, we got something really special on our hands, because what we actually read in the book, the actual script, is just way more immersed, way deeper. We get to know other characters that we haven't been introduced to in this film, who other beautiful, strong Black women as well. I'm not going to say nothing else, Rickey. I don't want to give your baby away, but it's just beautiful. If you guys like this, it's way more. It's way more that is coming.
I would say, okay, so let's just kind of backtrack to 2018. There's this fabulous show I think that we all come to really care about, which was called Lovecraft Country. I think that was a shakeup that a lot of people were not expecting when it came down to, holy snap. Like, we got some, like, what? Months? What? Time travel? What? It was just all these things but it was the perspective of Black. You know, like it was us. And so I finally feel as though with the Distinguish, it is us. We're covering so many different facets of the Black experience that is just not synonymous to one. We're covering a lot of different things. That's, you know, within every character, within everything that we've ever experienced, or things that allow you to fantasize about that you've never experienced before. Like, I'll just go back to the kiss. I never had a kiss like that in college. I wish I did. So it was like, you know, but again, that's a moment that I get to explore and fantasize about, right? So it's like, I think there's a level of reality. Sorry, that's my dog. There's a level of reality that also is mixed with fantasy that we get to really, truly center with this story. That allows us to see ourselves and also see our fantastical side of ourselves, if that makes sense. So I think, again, it's what's going to make people come back more and more, because they're going to see the reality of things, but also they're going to be able to experience the fantasy of it, in which a lot of us desire the fantasy of a lot of different things.
Period.
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 So we're getting a series, right?
Well, I'll drop this out. A lot of people have been asking about a series. I have been approached about doing it as a series. And also there is a real script that is out now that, well, when I say out now, there's a real script in terms of the actual full feature. It's already done. An agency, I will not mention any names, just to kind of keep all this stuff quiet for now, but there is an agency that's already attached to it that is, we're in the process of trying to find all the right partners. So there will be some life soon. So that's a little nugget. And your boy is, and your boy is, I'm number one right now as the director. So, you know,
as it should be, as it should.
Y'all should be advocating for me, okay? He needs to do.
Absolutely.
We can do that.
We can like go way back.
Absolutely.
The perfect man for the job. What do you mean?
Y'all need some, right? That part. We need some fresh blood. Okay.
Period.
All right.
We ain't had a single unique idea in a hot little minute, and this is what we need to wake it up. So, Rickey for president,
Yes.
Rickey for director, Rickey for everything right now.
Thank you.
Come on through, Ant. We know y'all time is valuable, so we won't keep you too much longer. But I think we get just a couple more things, and we'll go ahead and get everybody up out of here. Ant, I think you up on deck, homeboy. What it is, bruh?
Oh man, like I'm sitting here with Zen-like patience, but you dropping jewels, you dropping nuggets, you're teasing so much, right? Watching the short film, I had to watch it twice, right? I realized how much the story respects, but also subverts like a lot of Black, and I mean a lot of Black typical and supernatural tropes. So I'm curious, like, what are some of the themes or ideas that you're hoping to explore? Let me not say hoping, that you will explore as you build on the momentum of this story. Like, I'm ready. We all ready, right? Like, I need to know how you might be planning to continue to push the boundaries of the conventional supernatural narrative. And Jabbar and Tosin, y'all not off the hook. What are some notes y'all have for Rickey that you like to see your characters explore when you all come back and produce more of this universe? I'm with Nally. We speaking this into existence.
I need a love interest. I need a love interest. And she needs to be tall and beautiful and dark.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I felt that. Received. In terms of things that I really want to explore with this, a lot of things that we often hear about is the Black experience, but within the Black experience, a broken home, right? Sorry, y'all. A broken home. And so the fact that, you know, we have Seven, we have Eli, and we have his mom, and showing what Black love really is and what that looks like. Like, I want more stories of that. I want to really put that at the forefront, and that in itself, in terms of like it being a superpower, supernatural in itself, just in a sense of like what Black families look like and the Black love that exudes within that. I think that is super important, and I love being able to explore that with Seven and with his mom and with his dad. Like, that's super, super dope. Also, the other thing too is what it means to be afraid. You know, what does that look like? How do you overcome that? We will witness Seven. We witness it here in the short film a little bit, but we'll witness that a lot more, because oftentimes we find ourselves in those places and spaces where we're like, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I should do that, because we're coming from a place of fear. But what happens when you lean into that fear a little bit more and say, you know what? Yes, I can. Right. There's a lot of things within the story in itself that we're going to, you know, loss, love, trust, betrayal, like all kinds of different things that you're going to witness that is very much in line with who we are as a culture. But then also at the same time, what does one do when they're faced with these obstacles and these challenges? So yeah, I'll kind of leave it like that, just a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need a love interest. You know, she got to have all the curves.
Not all the curves. I'm weak.
Any takers right now? I think Steph. I think Steph
you available.
We are being professional. Thank you very much.
I mean, we're trying.
Your resume.
You know, I can have it right now. Now, I noticed that Ant said everybody ain't off the hook. So I want to make sure I don't speak too quick and let somebody off the hook. Ant, did you get the responses you were looking for, or did somebody not speak?
Nah, the one at the end. The last square at the end.
I mean, I ain't trying to put somebody on blast, but here go the mic, homeboy.
No, I mean, I don't. Once again, like I've read it all, so I just know everything that everyone is asking for now or yearning for now. I'm like, oh, you guys are gonna get it, plus more. I think that's the beauty about films as well, especially supernatural films or TV shows. You go and make discourse and be like, did anybody notice this happened? And people are like, what? And then they have to go back and watch it and then watch it again with a new understanding. I think with the feature or series, that I think if that even is a note, which I don't think it is, but if that's a note, then more Easter eggs. I love Easter eggs because I love exploring new things in films that I love. So that would be the only thing that I would just recommend for Rickey.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So this is a podcast that's based on Black nerds, and you guys have given some pure nerdom since you've been on here. I heard a Gandalf reference. I heard a Static Shock reference. I heard all kind of references. And so I'm just curious, what are y'all favorite superheroes? What are your favorite nerd-isms? And I should direct it to somebody, but I mean, y'all seem to be pretty good at answering it on your own.
Well, okay. So if I have to take it back, how many of y'all remember Captain Planet?
Oh, yeah. Are we talking Don Cheadle?
He's gonna take motion down to 0. I know that's right.
Okay,
so
listen, I had to. That was back in the day, man. Like, that was the stuff for me. I used to love. Yeah. Anyways, next case.
What about y'all? Because I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. Tosin does give very, very strong Wakanda energy. I'm gonna keep it 100. So I could definitely see him as Killmonger brother, or maybe even Black Panther 2, 3, 4, 5. Tucson, it don't matter. And I'm not gonna lie to you. And I ain't gonna gas you up. I ain't gonna gas
Put that in the universe. Put that in the universe. I want that. I love that prophecy.
Okay. Put it out there.
Yeah, I actually, if I have to go foundational, like my foundational nerdy influences are definitely Power Rangers and Dragon Ball Z. That's where like I foundationally go. Super nerd.
The Dragon Ball fanatic, yo.
Yeah.
I have Shenron right here.
Really? Don't make how many I've shot at people. Man, I used to memorize monologues from Goku. I got Goku and Vegeta monologues in my head now.
What? Hey, Kakarot. Yeah, man. I done threw a spirit ball or two in my lifetime, but I do have to know this now back at Jabbar. I'm not going to lie to you, bro. Since you said Static Shock, I can't unsee it, bro. I can't unsee it. It's you. It's you, bro. I cannot unsee it. I mean, I'm assuming that would now listen, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. We all about to distinguish right now, nothing else. All right. Distinguish.
Uh-huh.
But after that, you know, when in the off season, when he's writing season 2,
ring.
Like you wouldn't be opposed. Sound like you wouldn't be opposed to playing Mr. Static. Is that fair to say, Mr. Jabbar?
Listen, I put it into the universe years ago. I would love to, that because before Rickey wrote this role, that was a superpower that I wanted. That was what I grew up watching, the cartoons and stuff. And then he just went away, and I was like, what happened? So when I got this, of course, it made me think about, oh, you had these dreams, Jabbar. You've had this in your head already, and it just all coming together. So, hey, yo, your lips to God's ears.
Yeah, I mean, because let's be real. I mean, you have distinguishes like on the forefront of our minds, and we cannot wait to get out there and promote it. And since you've been on some movie sets before, I mean, it might be within a realm of possibility. You know, you actually even, I think, acted with a superstar that was a superhero at one point in time. And I'm curious as to what this experience was like Emancipation.
Yeah.
Will Smith. What are y'all talking about? What was the experience there? And what could you share with us about that role before we get on the body?
So I got to work with Antoine Fuqua, who is also a part of the Distinguished as well, a little background, but
yes.
I got to work with Antoine Fuqua on this show called The Terminal List that he did with Chris Pratt. And I remember on that set, I had a small co-star role. But of course I probably had like 2 or 3 lines, but Antoine was like, yo, you're dope. And I was like, thank you. And then he went back to my agents and was like, Jabbar's special. And that was it. That was the only note. And my agents at the time was like, normally for co-stars, no one gets feedback, like that's a really good thing. So then 4 months later or so, I got this audition. Antoine, of course, was directing. And he was just like, I just remembered you for this role. So I auditioned for it, but he was like, honestly, when I wrote this role, when I was reading it, I just thought of you. So I got on set. The first day on set, Will just magically appears in this cart next to us, and we were acting, and we had a great time shooting. I was in New Orleans. I shot that for maybe like 2 months or so. But this moment right here that you guys are looking at, I haven't seen Will for like 2 years since we actually did. So when I seen him, I didn't have hair. My hair was short. I look completely different than when I looked right there. So when I went up to him, he was like, oh, like, what's your name? And I was like, I'm Jabbar. I play Thomas. And he's like, whoa, like what? You look completely different. He didn't recognize who I was. So that was that moment right there. And I think it's just so special. But working with Will, of course, like, you grew up, my dad has all of his DVDs, and it was just beautiful to just get to work with him, get to see a vet in the game, and then also for him to affirm my skills, just to be like, yo, you're killing it. I thought it was dope. And I don't really tell this story a lot, but Will is also very generous. He came to my trailer towards the end of our shoots. We used to shoot in 113-degree weather in New Orleans, and running, sweating. Will came to my trailer, and he came in. He was just like, a PA knocked on the door and was like, hey, Will wants to come in. I was like, oh, okay. He came in, and he was like, yo, I just wanted to thank you so much for giving your all on this film. And his hand, he gave us like a grandma does when he has a bunch of cash. She has a bunch of cash in her hand. She gave me $5,000. And I thought, like, nuts. Wow. Like, I think that was just like,
wow.
I don't ever tell that story because it's so like personal to me, but I think that just shows his heart. But then he's just like, all right, back on set, and then he leaves, and I'm just like, that's Will Smith for me.
That's balling.
Will ever.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. That's balling.
Yeah, you definitely must be special to get 5 bands from Will Smith in the trailer. So that's what's up, man. Well, listen, guys, that is awesome. But again, distinguished is what's on the mind, and we looking forward to pumping this thing out there to the world. And we hope that y'all won't let this be the last time we get to see you. Just because you get listen, don't do the thing where we get big and then we have who y'all We're like, we remember back when y'all wasn't even. So I'm just kidding. So the moral of the story is. We gotta get Tosin a love interest. We gotta get Rickey. We gotta get Rickey a HBCU honorary degree from Howard from Steph. We gotta get Jabbar an audition for Static Shock, and we all gotta watch Distinguished and make sure that this third project doesn't become some short that we all watch, but some trilogy that we watching on big screens that also spawns off into other projects, including spinoffs. Who knows? Maybe. And we're going to keep Rickey busy because not only is he writing and directing, but he even making the music. I saw you in the credits for the music, homeboy.
Listen, there's a lot of things. Thank y'all so much. Yeah,
no
absolutely.
problem. So, Steph, real quick.
Yes, I'd love to wrap us with the last thought in question. I think 2025 has felt so long for so many of us, been boycotting, writing emails and calling congressmen, putting a lot of energy into fighting against those trying to oppress Black people and pushing back against what we don't like. But I am so ready to shift more of my energy into supporting Black people and the things that we love and the things that bring us joy. So, Rickey, can you tell us what can we, the fans in the community, do to support you and this project? Is it Instagram? Is it emails? Is it calling? Is it just running up the numbers on Roku and going to watch it 3 more times? What can we do to help make this dream come true for the community?
Yes, absolutely. So number one, please, by all means, go follow us at The Distinguished Short on Instagram. Those numbers, yes, absolutely. All that counts. At the same time, let's run it up on Roku because that is data that we get to utilize and show that, yes, there is like space for this. People really want this, and keep pushing it out and telling people, go watch it, go watch it, go watch it, go watch it. And also, Jabbar did something really smart too. Start tagging these studios, letting them know, like, who gonna pick this up? You know, like, so we need to start making ruckus and noise, saying and demanding that this is the story that we want. We desire it. We're already familiar with the world. We got a little wrinkle in time, and we want to see where the rest of this is gonna go. And this is how we're gonna make this happen. So, just as you said, this moment would not be possible without the community that has basically showed up now. This has all been powered by voices. At the end of the day, when this moment, the 3-second clip that, Jabbar, when he posted it, when we talked about like, this got to be a grassroots moment, posted a 3-second clip, and then it took fire. And it just, from there was a community that was built, and it has been sustaining. And this just means that this is what everybody wants. And so we need everybody to keep saying, this is what we want, and demanding it. They want the Distinguished. Let's give it to them.
Hallelujah.
Heck yeah.
Well, listen, we can't thank you enough. From my heart to your mind, we cannot wait to see what else is coming after this. So please, you have an open door as far as our platform is concerned to get out whatever it is that needs to be communicated to the Black nerd community, because that's our stuff right there. So if it's cool, we'll go ahead and we'll exit. And I want to say, as we do to every single show, guys, make sure you are your authentic self. Because if you ain't your authentic self, guess what? You being fake. In that. And yes, if you a geek, as we always say, go ahead, let that good old geek flag fly. Deuces.
I love the new Blerd order. You should too.
Let me get all this 10P Wayne. All the niggas rapping about the same old thing. I've been coming through with